What's up, gamers, and welcome back for more WotC-20. Today's matchup is Slowking Forretress versus Dark Weezing. Slowking on the left, Weezing on the right, and right off the bat you can see we have two Clefas active with a promo EV on the bench for Slowking and a Doduo on the bench for Weezing. So the first coughing of the deck comes down. That is a Rocket Coughing, and it is a grass attached to the active Clefa, and we will be attempting an Eek right off the bat here. And it is good, so first turn will now pass to Slowking. Worth noting that the Doduo is most definitely used for Dodrio for retreat aid, which allows for any kind of retreating with single retreat cost Pokemon that you might have. And a Fan Club comes down for Slowking here. And that'll grab a Pineco, as well as a Fossil Slowpoke. Worth noting too that as far as these coughings are concerned, the Rocket's coughing has 40 HP. I believe every other coughing that isn't Koga's has 50 HP, so that will be relevant with regards to Mass Explosion, Dark Weezing's primary attack and damage dealing attack. So we'll keep an eye on that for later. For now, it looks like there is no energy in hand for Slowking. So Fan Club resolves, and it will be a pass. So Slowking, if you're not familiar with from Neo Genesis, has a very powerful Pokemon power called Mind Games. We do play with the eroded version, so it has to be in the active slot for the ability to be active. But whenever your opponent plays a trainer card, you may flip a coin, and if heads, that card does nothing, and you put it on top of the opponent's deck. So very disruptive. Coming back over here for Dark Weezing, we see a Fan Club grabbing, let's see, you can see a Murkrow package in the deck. That's interesting. I don't think I saw any Metal Energy, so we'll pay attention for that for Mass Explosion math. But it will grab two more coughing off of that Fan Club. So pretty quickly, all four coughing for Dark Weezing have been found and benched, along with a Clef and Doduo. So pretty good start. Now you just want to be able to get the right energy attaches. You can see the Dodrio in hand as well as a Dark Weezing. Dodrio comes down. So now Dark Weezing's side can free retreat ad nauseum because the coughing are all retreat cost 1, as well as Dark Weezing. Dark Weezing number 1 comes down. Meanwhile, on the other side of the board, Black Star promo Eevee has evolved into Aquapolis Espeon, and now a Rainbow Energy for turn attaches to Dark Weezing, dealing 10 damage to it. Worth noting that Dark Weezing does not have high HP, so Mass Explosion dealing damage to itself and coughing around it can be difficult to sustain for 6 whole prizes in a single prize format. And it looks like Eek for Dark Weezing is a Tails, passing turns back to Slowking. The Rainbow Energy attached return on that Weezing will be math that is worth keeping track of, though. Slowking coming down onto the bench along with a Forretress, so 2 evolutions for Slowking's side, and you can see a Trader in hand. Hand check right now, it is 3 cards in hand. I believe it was a Gust, Item Finder, and Transparent Walls. We'll talk about Transparent Walls in a bit. But now it's going to be attached for turn a Metal Energy to that Forretress on Slowking's side into a Computer Search, discarding Trader and a Copycat. Copycat not getting the play because there's only 3 cards in hand for Dark Weezing. And what will be gotten here, it is a very tiny hand at the moment, so this will likely be something like an Oak or an Elm, some sort of refresh. It will be Elm, reminding everyone that Elm no longer allows you to play trainer cards for the rest of your turn. But a good way to get energy, look for your Evo lines, and continuing to set up here. So while this is resolving, Transparent Walls is a trainer card which features Weezing on it from Gym Set, and it says until the end of your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from attacks done to your benched Pokemon. So it can not only protect you from your opponent's Steelix, for example, but it'll also protect you from your own Mass Explosion. It looks like Clefa's going to retreat out, and we're going to put up a Slowking. Now, given the hand size of Dark Weezing, offering up a free Eek is not ideal, but as you can see, the hand here is all trainers except for 1 energy card, so giving a chance for Mind Games to shine here. And Gust is going to succeed. So Mind Games did not work on Gust. Instead, Forretress, 3 retreat cost, gets pulled in. Worth noting that Slowking is also a retreat cost of 3. Alright, and then spikes damage to that Dark Weezing, so that Dark Weezing now has 20 damage on it. Now, given the high retreat costs of Slowking and Forretress with Espeon on bench, we can assume that we will see some Warp bouncing later on. And now another Rainbow Energy attaching to the Weezing. That'll get it up to 30 out of 60. But Transparent Walls comes in here. So as we mentioned before, Transparent Walls will prevent any damage to the bench Coughing, which is a big deal because those Coughing only have 40 HP. Mass Explosion does 20 damage times the total number of Coughing, Weezing, and Dark Weezing in play, and then the attack will deal 20 to each Coughing, Weezing, and Dark Weezing in play. Weakness and Resistance only applying to the active. So lots of damage. That would have been 80, but 1 Metal Energy from Forretress means it is very much alive. And a DCE attached for Forretress. It will be able to escape here. Now I have a little difficulty reading that die. It looks like it says 20. I'm almost positive it says 70 though. Trader will grab another Pineco out of the deck. And Weezing is going to get knocked out here. Now from 1 Spike's Tick, 2 Rainbow Energy, and then Mass Explosion, it should be up to 50 out of 60. Rapid Spin here, finishing off the job. I don't know if damage was ticked for Mass Explosion to active. It should have been. Transparent Walls only protects your bench. But that math will not matter here. Slowking forgetting to prize up. That'll get caught later, I assume. For now, with Slowking back active off of that Rapid Spin, Cleffa also being active, Elm is going to trigger successfully. So Mind Game's not doing too much work yet. And worth noting, when you have a Weezing and a Coughing in the bin, your damage output potential is much lower, capping out at 60 now unless you run something like the Brock's Ninetales line to shapeshift into another Weezing. And now you can see Rocket Hideout in hand. That is very important for getting your Coughing and Weezing, well, just the Weezing, some extra 20 HP. But it can't be played yet because of Elm. Second Dark Weezing of the match getting powered up here on the bench. 1 Grass Energy attached so far. You can see the Recycle in hand, but otherwise it's 4 trainer cards. Not great with Cleffa down, but you can get a free Eek. And it is a passed turn, deciding not to Eek. Now you can see tons of energy in hand here. And there is a Warp Energy. So Warp Energy comes down onto the Slowking. Forretress comes back active. And Elm comes down. Now this is a big turn because if this Cleffa does not get knocked out, and Weezing can come back in and knock out this Forretress. That's a lot of energy off the board. And obviously that would make the Spikes damage less. Second Forretress coming down though, so not all of the Spikes damage would be gone in that scenario. Slowpoke joins the bench, full bench for Slowking. And now it is a roll for Rapid Spin. Baby Rule says. Looks like it's good. That knocks out Cleffa. That is the second prize of the match. Still waiting for them to prize up. And from Rapid Spin, Slowking will come active. And here, wouldn't it be bad to promote the Weezing? You know you have the energy in hand to attack next turn. Weezing comes in. Cleffa immediately found, that's pretty helpful. Would refrain from playing a bunch of trainer cards here with Mind Games active. There's the Recycle Energy, so Mass Explosion is back. Haven't seen any Psychic Energy yet from Slowking's side. It would be usable with Espeon or Slowking, and now they're realizing they haven't been prizing up, so there's a Switch prize card. That would have been from last knockout, but the other prize card is just going to get shuffled into the deck, it looks like. Because of... maybe because there was an Elm plate or something, but they're resolving it, it's all good. A trader is going to be attempted here. We'll see if it gets through Mind Games or not. Remember, getting a trainer placed back on top of your deck can really slow your momentum. And it looks like this time Mind Games succeeds, putting that trader back on top, so you know what your draw is next turn. But maybe now you just keep your Cleffa and start swinging, try to get this Slowking off the board. Now if there aren't any Rainbow Energy, which there probably are, and if there aren't any Psychic Energy, which there might not be in this Slowking deck, the type matchup for Dark Weezing here might not be too much of a problem. Rocket Hideout comes down, but Mind Games is still active. And that card will also go back on top of the deck. So now you know the next draw is Hideout into Trader. So no energy coming there. And now Mind Games really squeezing down on this game state. Gotta go to work with these Weezing. Worth noting that Slowking does have an attack of its own. Mind Blast is not something I think we'll be seeing this game at this rate. But it is 20 damage, then flip a coin. If heads, it does 20 plus 10, and the defending Pokemon is confused, otherwise just 20. But that's 3 Psychic attaches. So, probably not going to see that happen. Switch in hand, Cyclone, DCE, Copycat, Cleffa, and looks like maybe another Metal for Slowking's side. Good hand peep. Quick bin check going on here for Dark Weezing. Really trying to decide whether or not to use that computer search or item finder. If it fails with Mind Games, you're going to have to discard 2 cards no matter what. And then you know what your next 2 draws are, so really, really risky to play into the Mind Games here. Ideally, if you're Weezing, you are getting a knockout every attack, because dealing so much damage to yourself isn't really something you want to do over the course of 12 attacks. Some decks mitigate this with Transparent Walls, some mitigate it with Metal Energy, some mitigate it with Brock's Rhydon. There's a few options, but definitely not a deck that wants the game to go on too long. Looks like we're just going to see a Mass Explosion for 60. Slowking having 80 HP is fairly bulky. And now it's 20 damage to Dark Weezing, as well as 20 damage to each of those benched Coughing. Now, that's a big deal because the Coughing only have 40 HP. Base set Coughing has 50. Expedition also has 50, but Rocket's got 40. Goldberry attaches onto this Slowking. And a Forretress comes down, and there's a switch. Sorry, Forretress didn't come down, it just got the metal attach in hand that we saw earlier. Switch pulling out that Slowking. So, didn't have to use the Warp Energy to attach for the turn with Espeon. Was just able to use Switch to get the Forretress back active. Espeon will, however, energy return that Warp Energy to hand for later. And you can see the Cyclone Energy in hand, also a Espeon bouncing utility card there. And it looks like we're just going to see 30 damage with Rapid Spin. So that's 50 to Weezing, or 50 total to Weezing. And Slowking getting put back up off of Rapid Spin. Goldberry pops between turns. So now there was only 20 damage marked. Cleffa in the active. Rocket Hideout attempting to come down, but Mind Games is active. And it goes back on top of the deck. That's tough. Really would be good to have some extra HP on Dark Weezing. And it looks like we're going for a quick rules check here. I do believe that that is a foreign language Slowking in the active, so.
Yeah, actually. One out and made it all come together. That was a game with the sand was like amazing. I just needed it.
And it's just a pass. Alright, big hand here for Slowking. Warp Energy comes down, pulls the Slowking out, puts the Forretress back up, which, as we've already talked about, has the ability to deal 30 to Cleffa. And it succeeds. Prizing is now 3 to 6 in favor of Slowking. Rapid Spin. Secondary effect, Dodrio comes active, Slowking comes active again. Given the hand being trainers. Oh, gonna go for a computer search. This is a big roll. And Mind Games puts the computer search back on top. However, the Rocket Stadium sticks. So now Dark Weezing, instead of having 60 HP, has 80. Would have been good if it was made active off of the Rapid Spin instead of this Dodrio, though, because there are 2 Forretress on board, so Spike's damage would deal 20. Weezing does have the ability to knock out the Slowking, get a Warp Energy off the board. But as we were talking about before, those Coughing already have 20 damage on them and 40 total HP. One more Mass Explosion would not only knock out the remaining Dark Weezing, once it comes in with Spike's damage, that is, but it would also knock out both Coughing, resulting in 3 prizes for Slowking, 1 prize for Dark Weezing. It looks like that's what we'll do here. Dark Weezing comes in, takes 20 from Spikes, is 10 away from being knocked out itself. Mass Explosion will deal out 4 prize cards, 3 for Slowking, 1 for Dark Weezing. So that'll be the match. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Would you play Dark Weezing? Let us know in the comments.